to session number 12, and this is going back to lesson plan number 70 and 71, and this is viewing your practice attributes and updating the practice attributes. Denise Miller will lead this session for us this afternoon.
All right, thanks, Kara. So, like Kara mentioned, lesson plan 70 is viewing practice attribute data. And you need to have a practice schedule open, which we do, the TA plan. So the reasoning behind this is that a planner may want to view practices in their attributes. So in desktop, the user can view the map and tabular information at the same time. The user may choose to view, between viewing the TA, the technical assistant, or the FA, the financial assistance information in the practice schedule table. So go ahead and click the Show Tables tab, and that will open up the practice schedule. And we're also under the practice schedule tab, so if you weren't, we would need that. You'll notice that it defaults to the TA view, and that is right on the left side. And much of the information is presented in the same between both the TA and the FA views. And if you scroll to the right, you'll notice that there are that the identified priority is under the TA view. Go ahead and click the FA view, and you will notice that much of the information is the same, but if you zoom to the right, you'll notice that the agreement number, contract item number, and agreement status have changed based on the FA view. So really, it's just those handful of columns after the program that are different between the two views. And that concludes Lesson Plan 70. So you can, we'll move to Lesson Plan 71, which is updating practice attributes. And we'll need to stay in the practice schedule tab here. So the reasoning behind this is occasionally a planner may want to update practice information such as plan date, planned amount, program code, or even edit the practice narrative. Planners may also want to set the identified priorities by selecting the priority species and the ESA predictability. For applied practices, planners may enter the applied amount and date. And when a practice is in an obligated contract, the practice information, other than the applied date and amount, of course, can only be updated when the contract is under a modification. All right, so the first kind of thing we're going to do is change the plan date, amount, or program code for a practice. So go ahead and switch to the TA view. And we are looking for practice 342 in the practice schedule. Go ahead and find one of those and select it. And click the orange Edit button. And this will open up the Attributes tab. You'll notice at the top that the tract information, the land unit, as well as the practice code are all at the top of the dialog. So under the attributes, we're going to update the planned amount, program code, month, and the year. And then click the Save Edits button when completed. And you will notice that if it's greater than the land unit's program acres or is not within 10%, you will get a warning. And then we'll go ahead and click Yes. And once it saves successfully, you're good. So we're going to move next to add and remove an identified priority. So in this case, we're going to go to the Priorities tab, is just to the right. And we're going to click the identified priority. And go ahead and select one. Please note that if the selected species is endangered, you can check the ESA predictability box. And then also click the Add Priority. And it will add it to the table. So go ahead and click the Save and Close to save the changes. And it will also, it will also, we'll want to be out of that practice. And you'll notice on the table, if you go to the right, under the identified priority, there is now a yes in the identified priority column. To remove an identified priority, we're going to select that same practice, which it is already, and then click the Edit button. Once again, select the Priorities tab, select the row, and then click Delete Priority. And it removes it from the table. Click Save Edit. And once it's saved successfully, you're good. To edit a practice narrative, you would click the Narrative tab. All right. So, so you would highlight the row you're interested in, and then your current narrative will be listed at the bottom. To make a change, you would type in, make a change. You will also need to add something in the identifying column. So it sees it as a different narrative, and then also to edit the narrative to customize it. And then when you're done customizing, click Save Edit. And that adds a new custom narrative. To edit an applied date or amount, or for certification, you would click the Certified tab. And then you would enter your applied amount and applied date for the practice. So there's the amount. The date, you can either type in the box, or you can click the calendar icon. Please note that you cannot select an applied date that is in the future. And then click the Save and Close button to save the changes and to close the dialog. Once again, if it's over the amount or not within 10% of the calculated amount, you will receive the warning. The practice schedule will refresh to show the edited information for that practice. And you can see that the applied information, as well as the program code and narrative, have all been updated. And that concludes Lesson Plan 71.
Thank you very much, Denise.